I give the floor to Ms. Andreasen to move the request.
Thank you, President. I rise to ask for the postponement of the vote on Fernandes' report from this plenary agenda. The reasons are straightforward and refer primarily to the paragraph of the report which covers the House of European History. The Budget Committee has been given conflicting and, I believe, misleading figures of this project. An example of this is the mounting annual running costs. They currently stand at 13.5 million. This figure is in excess of what was originally quoted, and when I suggested that the cost would be 10 million, a faceless parliamentary official accused me of lying in the press by saying my estimates were, I quote, excessive. This is not the way members of this House should be treated. What is worst of all, President, is the clear conflict of interest in having the chairman of the Budget Committee sitting on the Board of Trustees of the House of European History, even if he is not remunerated. In no other parliament would such a clear conflict of interest be tolerated. It makes an absolute mockery of the committee process. Until these matters are cleared, the vote on this report must...
Thank you. Thank you.
Rozumiemy.
Thank you. We understand. Would anybody like to speak in favour of the request? Anyone in favour?
Mr. Speroni.
Presidente, io ritengo che sia...
Thank you, President. I think we ought to postpone. We're talking about only 4 or 5 weeks, and we need to go into this issue, which, as we've just heard, does deal with the spending of millions of European taxpayers' money. So I would vote in favour of the request, please. Thank you.
And now somebody to speak against. Who would like to speak against? Mr. Lamassoure was the first to raise his hand.
Yes, Mr. President, I wanted to make 2 points. First of all, the Budgets Committee has done its work, and the draft estimates for the Parliament's budget for 2012 are now in a position to be examined, discussed and voted on by this Parliament in its plenary, pursuant to our procedures and pursuant to last year's practice. There are differences of view between the political groups. That's where they should come forward. But I can't allow Ms. Andreasen, who knows the situation very well, to say that as chair of the Budgets Committee, sitting on the board of the institution concerned, the House of European History, there's some conflict of interest. I'm not there as an individual. I am there ex officio as chairman of the Budgets Committee in order to represent it on that body, just as the chair of the Cultural Affairs Committee also represents the view of that body on the House of History board. Now, and frankly, if you hear words such as conflict of interest uttered in such circumstances, President, I believe that does not reflect the fact of the matter.
We vote. Kto z Państwa...
Those in favour of Ms. Andreas's motion. Those against, please show. Thank you. Abstentions. That motion has failed. Moving on now to Wednesday.